Batwing number 11, written by Judd Winnick, art by Marcus Toe. Last issue we left off with Batwing and Nightwing stuck against a clan of hired killers and a dude who's a literal dragon. Yep, and then we see that Penguin is somehow involved in all this because he's selling stuff to some international whatevers. So this is basically broken up into two completely separate plots. I'll just tell you the Batwing one first, but just know they're interspersed here. Batwing and Nightwing are fighting their way through the crowd. Batwing is in charge of the dragon guy, and he is barely holding his own the entire time. And he makes a point of being like, yeah, I am not capable of surviving this. Like, we just need to hold out long enough to get the internet traffic from that Chinese national guy who was on the boat. And then we're out, like, we're bailing. So, you know, long-ass fight scene. They do some cool things of him, like, trying to come up with clever maneuvers to get away from the dragon guy. Until finally the little computer flash drive goes ding, and he's like, cool. And he busts into the room. He uses sonic stuff to repel Dragon Man. And he grabs Nightwing with the flash drive, and they just zoom their way out of there. So then some time passes, and we see that they follow the internet traffic to find the partners of Long, and they are a group of mercenaries in Uzbekistan that I guess worship death or something. I doubt they're ever going to show up again, but regardless, Batwing breaks in their computers, sends the encrypted files over to Batman. They unencrypt them, and they're like, Batman, do you see what I see? These look like schematics for... And Batman's like, I know. I'm going to go talk to him. And then we go to Penguin's Iceberg Casino, where Batman literally busts in and starts beating the crap out of Penguin. And he's like, why'd you do it, Penguin? You're a terrible man. But why'd you do this? This is too far. I'm going to put you away for life. And Penguin's like, whatever you think you have on me is never going to stick. Wah, wah, wah. And he's like, don't you understand what you've done, Penguin? You sold someone a nuke. Which is a step up. I'll give him that. So, Batman, they don't know who the nuke went to, but they just know that Penguin sold someone a nuke. And that's where that story leads off for this issue. The other half of it is, if you remember last issue, some governor of Africa, of some African country, died. And turns out that they were the family of Matu, a.k.a. the Alfred to Batwing's Batwing. And the other half of this is basically him saying, like, yes, they were my family. I am the estranged son of that African governor, but, like, that was my old life. This is my new life. You are my new life, Batwing. And as it turns out, there is a country called Tundi who has a deranged warlord named Lord Battle, who, like, it's closed off all the borders. No one's allowed to enter or leave. But because Lord Battle was good friends with Matu's dad, Matu's family is going to be buried in Tundi, and Matu is allowed access to, you know, say goodbye to his family. Batwing's like, well, I'm going, clearly. This dude is bad news. And he's like, no, you are my new life, David. You must stay. I will go. So Matu goes to Tundi on his own. And as soon as he gets there, the dude is immediately like, ah, yes, I'm so sorry that you've come here for such a tragic reason, but you are the first person to enter my country in many, many years since its true birth. And basically, Matu's already just taken it in. He notices that Lord Battle has a team of, like, metahumans protecting him called Bloodstorm, which, okay. And he's like, all right, so yes, feel free to look around, but you will be guided around by your escorts. And Matu's like, yeah, okay, escorts, wink, wink, making sure I don't get into anything too much. But then he smells something in the air, which is apparently, as he calls it, crude oil. Later on, he manages to sneak away from his escorts, and he's on the phone with Batwing because he smuggled in a phone. And Batwing's like, hey, I'm flying over there. Like, I'm coming over to you because I know you said no, not to come, but, like, clearly I wasn't going to just sit out of this storyline. And Matu's like, yeah, here's the deal. I grew up in an oil country. I know what it smells like. They've got oil here. And Batwing's like, their main exports are diamonds and some other thing. But, like, they don't, metals. They don't have oil. And then Matu stumbles across a giant, like, oil farm where they're drilling for it. And he's like, well, what am I looking at then? And then Matu gets shot. in the shoulder. He seems okay, but, you know, he gets shot. He crumbles over, and then we see Lord Battle pick up the phone, and he's like, whoever this is, forget about Matsu. He may as well be dead, and forget anything you heard. No one will come into my country. And Batwing's like, do you want to bet, bitch? And that's where it leaves off. And it says, next issue, Justice League International, because I guess they're getting involved as well. Okay, it's fine. It's okay. I'm confused by the plots a little bit. Like, we had a pirate ship that had a Chinese national on it, and that Chinese national was linked to Uzbekistan nationals who were linked to Penguin, who's linked to a nuke. It's just a little bit too much touch and go of, we're just leaving a lot in the dark here of like, who's actually doing what here? Like, if we just boiled it down to Penguin sold someone a nuke and we ignored all the different nations and whatever, I'd be fine with it. But it just seemed a little bit of like, what are we doing here, guys? As for the Lord Battle side of things, it seems like it's going to be a fun little romp. Like, just a closed-off country. He's taking a warlord to task. It's as far as I can tell, typical Batwing. So I'm enjoying it. It's fine. Art-wise, it's still solid. I have no problem with Marcus Toe's art throughout any of this. The coloring is good, but it does feel a little bit bright in times where I feel like it should maybe be a bit darker. Maybe that's also on inks. I'm not entirely sure. But if that's the style they're going for, I can't fault it. It's just my own personal taste. I think it should be a little bit darker. Mainly because of that first arc where it was just gorgeous the whole way through. So, yeah, overall, I'll give it a 7. It's fine. It's good. It's not blowing me away, but it's exactly what it's trying to be. It feels more... I'm assuming that they're going to be tying these plots together. The nuke probably is going to Lord Battle. If I'm just throwing spitballs here, I'm guessing that the nuke's going to Lord Battle. But if it's not and these plots are completely divergent, then a little bit more disappointing. But I will deal with whatever it throws my way.